In this video, we're going to be discussing who I think between NHL coaches and general managers is the most likely to be on the hot seat and possibly be getting fired soon. And that's coming up next. Hey everyone, what's going on? My name is Mike and welcome back here to another video of Top Shelf Hockey. If you love hockey and you like talking about all aspects of hockey, consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. Alright, as discussed on the opener, I'm going to give you my opinion on who I think between NHL coaches and general managers have the most pressure on them and might be soon relieved of their duties. I'm giving you the top 3 teams I think might be looking to make a move probably sooner rather than later. Number 1, Washington Capitals. The Washington Capitals right now are a struggling team. They started off strong and now they've been racking up the losses. Obviously there's two main guys to look at there. We've got McClellan as the general manager and Barry Trotz as the coach. Obviously this team hasn't had any playoff success long term here. They haven't been past the second round. This team has been built to win, although I think a lot of people, myself included, and even their own team, probably recognize that this year they might take a little bit of a step back in the regular season because they've learned the hard way that the regular season record, winning that President's Trophy, really doesn't mean a lot and certainly by no means guarantees them a Stanley Cup. But obviously when the team's struggling as bad as they have been lately, then obviously they do want to be a playoff team and they don't have a chance to win a cup if they're not in. I think personally that it makes more sense that they might be looking to, maybe Barry Trotz might be on the hot seat here. I think their general manager could be on the hot seat as well. I think Brian McClellan's going to be feeling some pressure, but I think the general manager position is more than likely something that we'd see happen in the offseason. Personally, the general manager has a little bit more control over who the coach is as well, so I think it's more likely that if things continue to struggle here, I'd say probably I'd give it maybe 5 to 10 games. If they rack up more losses than wins, then we might see Barry Trotz get dismissed. I have no idea who they'd be looking to hire as a replacement, but depending on how the rest of the year went, obviously then we could be looking to see maybe McClellan on the hot seat as well. Number 2 team that I think has the most pressure on them in both the general manager's office and the head coaching positions as well as is the Montreal Canadiens. I think right now the Canadiens struggles. They're getting a lot of scrutiny from all aspects. Obviously the city of Montreal and its fans don't accept losing very well, which is, certainly a great attitude to have. I know obviously things have been bad enough that even their ownership, Jeff Molson, actually had to come out and make a statement recently, and he hardly ever speaks to the media. So you know that there's a lot going on in Montreal. Obviously, I think Bergevin and Julien both have pressure on them. I think that, to be honest, it's kind of questionable, and they'll make a move on either spot here. They just brought in Julien towards the end of last year, and he just signed a long-term contract. Now, I know a lot of times teams don't always take that into consideration, and changing the coach is one of the easiest things to do. I'm not sure Julien's style of play is best fit for this team. That could be a big part of the reason why they're struggling. At the same time, I do put a lot of blame on the team's lack of success on Marc Bergevin. I think he's failed to address their weaknesses in areas where they need better players, and he hasn't done anything about it. I mean, he's traded away all of their strong defensemen. I mean, imagine having a blue line right now with Mikhail Sergachev and PK Subban and Andrei Markov. Obviously that's a big hole back there that he hasn't addressed to fill. Obviously, Carey Price hasn't played well this year, but I'm confident he'll bounce back and he'll play better as the season goes on. Up front, they don't have a number 1 center. These are all things that are on Bergevin. Yes, the team that's there, I agree, could be playing better and they could be further up in the standings, and that's on Julien. So I think they both feel pressure. I'm not sure that Bergevin is going to be in a hurry to fire Julien though, and I think if Bergevin's let go, I think it'll be in the offseason. I think that makes more sense from an ownership group perspective, but we'll see. I think there's both of them have a lot of pressure on, and I do think I won't be surprised at all in the near future if we see Marc Bergevin make a move. I think he may wait a little bit just to see if they can string together a few wins, but if we see the next couple of games, depending on how things go, I think you're going to see a pretty good likelihood that we're going to see a big move come out of Montreal, and that big move could very well be a trade before either of those guys ever get fired. If that happens, obviously I think ownership will let things play out, as well as Bergevin letting things play out with Julien. As we've seen with Michel Therrien, he's very patient with his coaches. When he believes in their system and believes in what they're bringing to the team, he seems to be very reluctant to let them go. Now, number 1 on my list for this, I believe the team with the most pressure that's the most likely to get fired if things don't turn around in a hurry is Alain Vigneault and the New York Rangers. I don't think there's as much pressure on their general manager, and I think that going into the year, I think they acknowledge the fact that they probably wouldn't be a team that was any better than last year's team. But they're clearly not anywhere near that good. Last year they finished 4th in their division, made a wild card appearance in the playoffs. Even though they lost in the first round, they put up a really good fight. At this point, they don't have a chance to make the playoffs if things don't get better. So I think that there is a lot of pressure on Vigneault, and I think that he's most likely the first domino to fall this year when it comes to coaches getting fired. I don't see there being nearly as much pressure on the GM, and I think more than likely, if anything is to happen here, I think that that's the most likely scenario. They may change coach and have it hopefully give them a spark to get things moving. Not really sure who their next coach could be. Haven't really thought that far ahead. There's certainly lots of good candidates that are looking for work, but hard to say. I'm sure once this happens, obviously there will be a lot of interesting rumors come around. But for right now, in my opinion, Alain Vigneault is the most likely NHL coach or GM to be fired this year. Their team just is not playing well, and I think a lot of it really falls unfortunately on his shoulders. It's one of those situations where he's been there a while, and sometimes teams like this just think a different voice in the room and a different strategy might be what it takes to get their guys going to get things together. So we'll see what happens. Give me your opinion down below in the comments. Please let me know who do you think is the most likely to be fired early this season. We generally almost always see a couple of coaches let go before American Thanksgiving. So I'm curious to know your thoughts. So make sure you leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you love NHL hockey and you like discussing all aspects of NHL hockey, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button in the middle of your screen so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks very much for watching. Keep watching Top Shelf Hockey.